Hey, well, g'day. How's it going? This is a flat Earth, FE, scientific name for iron. Aussie, which scientifically abbreviated is AU, which stands for gold. And flat Earth Aussie Roscoe is basically iron gold horse, which is a little bit too conceited for my liking. So, I'm Aussie, I'm gold, heart of gold. And so this is Iron Horse, bringing you an ironclad proposal. Now this is one that I don't think anybody's really thought of before, because none of them are me. That's why I think of things, because I am the thinker of things unthought of before. That's what I do. So today, well, over the last couple of days, I've been thinking about how to put this into words, because, words are swords, especially if you put the S from the end of words to the start of words, then they definitely become swords, and the pen is mightier than the sword. So I've even got a pen. Doesn't matter. It's not about the pen, it's about the might of the words. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was good. And so, here's a proposal for all those who are a little bit worried about the strength of the elite and the inability to pay bills if shit really hit the fan. If it really hit the fan, then people are going to start having to worry about which side are they going to take. And here's the proposal that I make, is that when shit hits the fan and you work for the elite at this stage, and let's think about who are the elite. At the very top is, well, the top face is the Queen, the Queen of the Crown. And what does the crown hold? It holds copious amounts of gold in store. And yet it's called the Commonwealth of, well, it used to be called the Commonwealth of Australia. They took that off our money a long time ago. We couldn't be associated with communism, could we? Because Commonwealth amongst the people, heaven forbid, let them eat cake. Yes. We cake eaters have been subjugated to all manner of taxation and theft of our time, our lives, our freedoms. This is where the shit hits the fan. And so, what power does the Queen have over people? And basically the people that work for the Queen are giving a wee little tidbit, just a wee little bit, a wee mint. Oh, it's just a wee mint, sir. Kaboom! When we really get down to the nitty gritty of why these people do their jobs, it's because they have been suppressed through so long, through so many generations, through so much of their lives, that they will do anything for just a wee little tidbit of wealth, which is massive vaults, underground vaults full of gold bullion, sitting there doing sweet fuck all, when this stuff should be making everybody's lives better. This is what the Commonwealth is. We have all this wealth. We just have somebody unworthy of controlling this wealth. He's just fucking hoarding it like a cancerous tumor upon society. All this wealth, this should be being traded all around the place, employing people, Instead, they're just filtering it. They're pulling it out of the world and making us fight for the most pitiful, shitty little jobs, for little bits of paper to trade for food, shelter, clothing, the basics of the necessity of living. And in some cases, beer. Beer. Cents in the dollar to make. Dollars in the cents to buy. Makes no sense. $60 for 24 bottles of beer that cost less than a cent each to make. It's the glass and the packaging and the distribution which costs anything. It's ridiculous. And so, as a free society of people, it's time to stand up and take back our collective wealth. We can thank the banks, the queens, the kings, the rest of those who have been selectively collecting it for us and putting it into a safe place. We thank you for that. Your services are no longer needed. It is now time, because we're reaching a place where shit is hitting the fan. There's apparently plagues going around the world, pandemics killing the same amount of people that died any year from flu and other complications from things they already had anyway. But hey, if they want to call it a pandemic, then it is time for us now to take back the wealth for the common good of the people. And the only thing that is good to do with that wealth is to put it back into the ground by planting good, nutritious food everywhere. We can grow every corner, on every rooftop. Every place can grow hydroponics or aquaponics and provide an abundance of food. And when you provide an abundance of food, then you have an abundance of health, because health comes from good nutrition, not from feeding us processed shit that has to go through requirement after requirement to pass through to become the most deadest product that will survive on the shelves for so long to make a huge amount of profit for the shekel collectors, that does nothing good for the people who are actually working, producing the real wealth of this world. So, how do we convince these guardians of the wealth, the ones working for the Queen, the King, the governments, all these ones who are dependent upon a paycheck? Well, they know in their hearts that these paychecks aren't going to last forever. They're not going to last forever. And once their usefulness is used up and the population has been taken care of, which is what your job is, to take care of the population, then what's next? Then next, you are the problem, and then you will be taken care of. By who else but somebody higher in authority who realizes, well, they were useful idiots, they've served their purpose, now they can join the rest. We'll just give them all another jab or a shot to the heart, shot to the head, or whatever it takes. You know, it's probably even cheaper just to drown them, create another flood. They've been doing this shit to our weather for decades now. Bushfires, floods, you name it. Once the shit has hit the fan and there's no more emergency services left because you have wiped them all out, then we're all just nothing but useless eaters, taking up space. But it's like that story of the grasshoppers and the ants. There are way more of us than them. And so if you're worried about your paycheck, then, well, for one thing, you're just a sellout, trader, piece of shit, pussy ass. Part of my English, which I sometimes express out louder than I just did. But deep down inside, we recognise you are still one of us as well. We all needed a job. You just picked a career which seemed good enough at the time. Maybe you had issues of your own. You needed security. The idea of having a gun by your side seemed appealing. You got to wear gang colours. You got to hang out with like-minded people. And most people generally think everyone else is a bunch of bloody losers or stupid or whatever anyway. But no, we're not. All humanity is bloody smart. We're clued on. We're all in this together. And even if some of us are slightly less intellectual than others, and maybe some lie occasionally because that's the way the system is designed to make it so that, hey, you got to try and cheat. But who are you cheating? You're cheating the high authority, the ones who don't give a shit about you or me, just themselves. That's all they care about. So they can hoard more gold in more underground vaults. For what? For what purpose? What purpose is all that gold at the end of the day when there's nobody left to pay homage to them and serve them and lick their boots? The bootlickers will be the only ones left. And is that a life? Is that the kind of life you want to live the rest of your life? To lick the boots of the hoarders who killed off 95% of humanity? Is that what you want? Simply because you got a paycheck in the short term? Until finally everybody you knew and loved and were supposed to be, have sworn an oath to protect and to serve? Is that really your purpose in life? So anyway, I know you're afraid, you're scared, you have your job security. You wonder if the people uprise and go against the powers that be. Which side should you pick? Would you be better off on their side and shoot your brother and sister and daughters and sons and cousins and uncles and aunties and grandparents? Would you stand and shoot them so that you can still collect your paycheck? I imagine a large percentage of you will. And the ones who wouldn't would rather go along to get along than to be court-martialed or whatever fear that keeps them doing what they're doing. So here's a little alternative scenario. Let's say we all rose up against the grasshoppers, all of us little ants. What would make you switch sides to join the people of the world? I'll tell you what will make you change sides. Is if we told you that when we take over all the hoarded wealth of the world, that we will give you a gold bar each, and for each of you with a spouse, a second gold bar. Now that would make you an instant millionaire overnight. You would never have to work again. You wouldn't have to get up at 6 a.m. and polish your boots, lick your belt buckles, shine your buttons, put on your badges, wear all your fancy equipment because you're afraid of the community that you're there to protect and serve and might shoot you. You wear a bulletproof vest to work every day. Who are you working for? You aren't working for the people. You are working for the enslavers of humanity who steal the wealth of the people. And therefore you are, by association, guilty of treason against humanity. And so therefore you must suffer the same punishment as they do, unless you put down your arms and you swear allegiance to humanity instead. And then you will be forgiven, you will be pardoned, you will be brought back into humanity to be one of us again, if that's possible. If we can really find in our hearts to forgive a turncoat in the first place. However, we have big hearts. We know you did it out of necessity, out of the same oppression that we've been under, but you no longer have to be a part of that oppression. It is up to you. It is your choice. Do you want to be part of the Commonwealth? Or do you just want to get your little itty bitty little fucking bit until you are no longer needed, and then you will just be a part of the excess that just gets trodden into the ground as well? This is a big call. A big call. Choose wisely, because humanity is not stepping down. We are not going away. We will not give in without a fight. And those who choose to be against us will be judged by our Father in heaven, more so than they will be judged by us as they push us into the ground. And we will not go down like